Welcome to the Snowflake session on how to create and manage users. A Snowflake user is an entity that can be used to log into Snowflake database and to perform different database activities. So let's get started. So before you create a user, make sure that as a best practice, you create the user using a user admin role. So now let's switch to the user admin role. So that's done. Now let's take a look at the syntax to create a user. So it says create or replace user and then comes the username. Please ensure the username starts with alphabet and it should not have any spaces or special characters unless it is quoted within double quotes. Then comes the password. You can quote your password in single or double quotes. Then optionally comes the login name. So if you provide a login name, then that will be your user ID to log into Snowflake. Then comes the email. Email is again a optional parameter. Then comes the must change password option. Again, this is a optional parameter. If the value is set true for this parameter, then that means that when the user logs in for the very first time, then they will have to change the password mandatorily. Next comes the disabled option. This is also a optional parameter, not a mandatory one. When you set the value as true for this user, then that means that the user is disabled by default when it is created, and the administrator has to manually go and make this user enabled by running a alter statement. The next option is days to expiry. This is also a optional parameter. The value 5 here indicates that the user will be disabled or expired after 5 days. This option can be used in the situations where you got a user onboarded temporarily just for a few days, for example, and the system will then automatically disable the user after the set number of days. The default warehouse is another option which you can provide. What this means is that when the user logs in to the Snowflake database, the default warehouse is set to this particular data warehouse whenever the user logs in, so that they don't have to specifically change or set the warehouse after the login. And similarly, you can also set the default role for a user. The auto commit option equal to true means that whenever a user executes any insert or update statements, for example, then the data will be automatically committed to the database. Again, this is a optional parameter. So this is how you can create a user in Snowflake. There are several other options as well that you can find on the Snowflake documentation. So now let's run this statement. Okay, the user has now been created. So apart from this, there are a couple of other user management statements that we can run. So for example, you can run this statement alter user set disabled equal to true or false if you want to enable or disable a user. So if you disable a user, that means they cannot log into the Snowflake database. Similarly, you can also run a reset password statement. So if you want to change the password of a user, then you can run this statement. So let me just show you how it works. So after you run this statement, you will get a link and you can share this link with your user. And this is a one-time link. So once they open this link, they will be prompted to change their password. That's how it works. Pretty simple and straightforward. Now, if you want to see the other details of a user, you can run this statement. It's called as describe user and then the username. So let us see how it works. So now you can see here that it will show all the properties of a user and the corresponding value. A very handy feature if you want to check the details of a user. Then you can also see a list of all the users in your account. So you can run a show users statement for that. So currently we have got only 3 users in the database and it shows the date on which it was created and on the other details. Then finally you can drop a user by running drop user statement. So let's run the statement. The user has now been dropped. Now if you run a show users statement, then it won't show up in this list. And that's it, the user has been deleted from the system. And that's all about this topic. Please let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.